Welcome to the Caregiving Podcast. I'm Inga.
And I'm Julie.
And long story short, we have Caregiving. We are two momtrepreneurs who have built an in-home care business from the ground up, guided every step of the way by God's care and fueled by agape love. Almost 14 years later, we felt called to create this podcast as a resource for families with caregiving needs. Whether you care for a family member or are looking for advice on professional caregiving, we want this to be a platform to support you.
Each week, we will come to you with encouraging stories of families who have found the right balance for their loved ones, tips for how to care for them and you, and much more. We hope you continue to join us each week as we share in this exciting new journey together.
Hello, Sunshines, and hello, Julie. How are you?
I am good.
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 So you had quite a wild ride this last weekend.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, I have a new toy, or my husband has a new toy, and he is trying to get me to learn how to snowmobile.
Yes, and how's that going?
It's hard work. It's so hard. And then for Valentine's, he got me the bibs and the big old jacket, and so I'm happy to go.
Super appreciative, yes.
Yes. And so he takes me up this weekend, and the first time we went, it was lovely. Evidently, the word snow has many definitions in description. There's soft and fluffy, and then there's crunchy and hard.
Yep.
And we went crunchy and hard this time, and it was so much work. And I learned so much about the do's and don'ts of going snowmobiling
from the
with your
School of
husband.
Hard Knocks.
That, yes. Even just from the basics of before you get all geared up in that 150 pounds of stuff, make sure you go to the bathroom. And
solid advice.
You put on your helmet, you put on your goggles, you put on those big old gloves, and then you have a itch. And it was right here, and I couldn't itch because I had this thing. So I was a hot mess. And then literally a hot mess because all of the stuff he bought me was so nice. But, I'm at an age where, I can just sweat just looking at you, right? And so then I put on all this extra clothing, and I was one hot mama.
You need to do a snowmobiling fitness Farm Mama Snowmobile Edition.
At one point, I was only halfway up the trail and promptly went ass over tea kettle backwards. And I laid there. And this was at least the second time I'd fallen off, got bucked off. And so I'm laying there and I'm just looking up at the sky and I'm thinking, I got to trek myself all the way up to the top of that hill because my husband's going to come down and he's got to take the machine all the way up because it's buried. And so I have to walk up there. So it might just be easier if I just lay here and wait for a bear to eat me.
All the while you're like, this is fun. This is fun. I'm having fun.
Oh my word. Why did I eat that bag of hot and spicy chili Doritos before I went riding? I'm going to die. Oh, I'm having so much fun.
Anywho,
I got back to the trailer. That is the most beautiful sight you'll see that whole day is when you come along and all of a sudden there's your truck and trailer waiting for you. Oh.
And you did mention that even like 4 or 5 days later, you still had snowmobile butt.
Oh, goodness. I have a muscle down in the gluteus maximus area that must have, I don't know. I didn't know I had it. Now I know I have that muscle.
It is hard work though. Like some people make it look really easy. I suspect your husband is one of those people.
He's jumping from side to side and then at one point he's like, now really watch this corner because don't go off the cliff. Okay. I will not. Just get out of my way so I can go. I found the brake. I do know where the brakes are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But the other thing that you have to do prior to leaving the truck is making sure that your husband understands the definitions of, I want this to be a fun little trip and don't take me on any hard trails.
Yes. Did he understand the assignment?
No. Okay. Time and duration and skill set.
Right. You're not a black diamond snowmobiler at this point.
don't think I consider myself a snowmobiler yet. I am pretty good on flat surfaces in the pasture.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it just takes practice like everything in life.
It's so hard.
So how happy are you that it seems like the snow's going away?
I will be ready to snowmobile again next winter.
Next winter.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, just like having a kid. After a while, you forget how painful it was. And you just
Maybe go back, remind yourself why you didn't enjoy it the last time.
Right.
It's kind of like McDonald's, right? You have to go every now and again just to remember why you don't like it.
Oh, this is why. Yeah.
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 Huh.
Yeah.
So anywho, if you go on a family vacation, snowmobiling probably won't be
I shall go towards the sunshine.
Me too.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, a little bit later on in the episode, we're going to be talking about traveling with seniors. So
Yeah.
we just gave you a little excerpt of what it's like to travel with Julie to the snowmobile hill. I loved your Facebook post. I laughed. I thought I was going to fall out of my chair reading through it.
I was just sitting there as I was riding along, and I was just like, oh, that tree just tried to kill me. And that tree just tried to kill me. Oh, being one with the nature is just a bunch of crap.
That's so funny. Just get you a nice beach chair.
Yeah.
And nice. Awesome.
Yes.
So Julie, you found a verse for us, or I don't know if it came in on the email or not, but anyway, it is John chapter 5, verse 20. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all that he himself is doing, and greater works than these will he show him, so that you may marvel.
Yes. Yes. The version of the verse that I have actually says, so that you will be amazed. And as we're going to be talking about traveling, I love that, to travel and be amazed at God's handiwork everywhere.
Oh, yes.
It doesn't matter if it's Glacier Park or it's the ocean or it's
the snowmobile hill.
A snowmobile hill or across the big pond. Everything that God has given us, we are to be amazed.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, do you ever just stop and look around and think, just maybe at an item or something that you see in nature, and you're just like, how, where?
Flowers.
Yes.
Flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I just planted, I got a wild itch, and I went to Lowe's and I bought myself two different kinds of grapes, and they came in one package each, and then a thing of hardy kiwi. Good thing it said hardy. But anyway, the grapes are just, they look like dead sticks. But what is going to happen from those stick-like structures is I'm going to have grapes. And it's just amazing, the miracle of spring, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, the grass comes out, the leaves out of a tree that looks like it's completely dead.
Oh, I'm excited for our landscaping here at the office because we did all of that trim work last year and panicked just a little bit about how much trim work was done, but we were assured that it's going to come back
Even better.
even better than it was before.
Yes,
So
yes.
I cannot wait for that to happen.
Right, right, for sure. So that's why I picked that verse.
Well, good.
Yep.
I love it.
Yes.
And listeners out there, if you have a verse that you'd like to share with us, please email those to thecaregivenpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you.
You betcha. You betcha.
Would you bring for an uplifting story or tidbit today?
So I am in the spirit of talking about traveling. This one, it was called Savor the Moments. So, Gran, I hope you don't roll down that big hill. My 7-year-old nephew, Jordan, loudly warned his grandmother. Jordan was concerned because Mom's wheelchair was parked on the sloping aisle of the church. Mom had long ago quit trying to maneuver her arthritis-ravaged body into the pew. Since it was Mother's Day, we all had forsaken our own churches to worship with Mother at hers. She looked beautiful wearing a big corsage and her wig to hide the effects of the chemotherapy. Her face shone brightly with pride for her family. May I take your picture? Don, the church photographer, asked following the service. Although we were all ready to leave, we agreed to wait. Don snapped pictures of the 6 of us, sisters with Mom, and then pictures with her and the grandchildren. Finally, he wanted pictures with all of us together. At that point, we were all growing impatient. We had squirmy, hungry children to get to lunch. Now I'm so glad that we chose to wait. Thankful we had slowed down that day to relish the time with Mom instead of rushing on. we had the precious photographs that captured the special moments that we had shared with her mom, because it turned out to be her last Mother's Day.
Oh.
Yeah. So savor that moment. And as we're talking about taking someone on a trip with you, savor that moment.
Yes.
And I have a similar wheelchair story, and I don't remember it, but I was little, but we had gone to the zoo with my grandfather down in Utah. And I don't think my dad or my mom had been around a wheelchair very much. And so we were up on the top of the hill, and they went to get Grandpa out of there, and
Oh no!
and the wheelchair took off down the hill, and my dad started hollering because it was going right for this person. They had their head in the back seat, so it was just their butt. He's like, hey, watch out. And it actually hit the back tire, but it was that close.
Oh
that
my gosh.
Can you imagine popping them in the butt and it's pushing their head first?
Oh my gosh, runaway wheelchair.
Oh, yeah. So this story kind of brought up a couple of memories, but it was so sweet.
Oh, that's awesome. And I agree with that. Savor those moments. And
Yeah.
if you can snap a few photographs to help you hang on, I love that.
Yes.
I think we do get quite impatient when it comes to taking pictures.
Yeah.
And so slow down and do it, because you won't regret it later.
Right. And my Aunt Rayanne, she's the picture taking queen, and everybody's just like, oh, come on, one more picture. But she makes the most beautiful memory books.
Yes.
And someday everybody's going to be begging her for those pictures.
Absolutely.
So she's going to have the last laugh when we were all cranky about it.
Yes. Don't begrudge the picture taking.
Right.
Well, I was scanning through the internet, and I just came across just little fun ones. It's kind of a little bit about parents' social media posts that they have made, just funny little things I thought were funny. So the first one says, never forget where you came from. So this parent had said to the child, yes, you were in my belly. When the question about, where did I come from? Yes, you were in my belly. And the 3-year-old says, why? With tears in their eyes. Why did you eat me? The next one talks about kindness counts. And it says, my 9-year-old daughter invented a recess game called Kindness Matters, where she tallies the acts of kindness, and reportedly she finished the day in first place, which goes to show that kindness and being the scorekeeper truly matter. That one was good.
Cute.
This is great, and especially as we're talking about traveling, carbs before marathons help.
Oh,
if you don't have to carb up for the bedtime routine, are you even doing it right? Oh, this one was funny too. Peace be with you. The irony of my daughter having a biting and scratching filled tantrum while wearing a sparkly green peace sign shirt.
Oh. Ironic.
Isn't that funny? This is great. This is great information. And this, not only does it apply to crafts, but it also applies to animals, right?
Okay.
If you're going to gift a child a craft kit, then you also have to do the craft with them. It's the law. If you're going to give someone an animal, then you have to be involved with it.
Yes.
It's the law.
I did. I actually gave my daughter a bracelet craft kit one time, and she's like, do you want to do these? And my response was not appropriate. And she still laughs about it nowadays, just like, mother, fail. Parent fail.
Oh my gosh.
But I thought it would keep her busy for a while. Not me too.
I know. I'll end on this one that I thought was funny because I don't know. Recently, I've seen a lot of like dad joke things going around, and this one was just funny. I had to go change my shirt after realizing all 3 of us were wearing flannel shirts. My husband said, "Don't change. We're a flannelly."
Oh, so bad.
So bad. It's great. Okay.
Oh my goodness. That's funny.
So today we wanted to talk about traveling, right? Traveling with seniors, and some tips and tricks and things that you can do to help prepare, prior to, and then also as you are on the move, to make this event more successful.
Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't have to cancel your appointment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
your vacation
anymore because somebody's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
There are ways to work around. Of course, you've got to be smart about it.
Mm-hmm.
And just once again, those memories are going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that basically just sometimes I think when people start to have a decline, we just think that life as we know it is over, and it doesn't have to be that. You know, there are ways that you can work around and make accommodations and still take that family trip.
Yeah. Yep. Might have to slow you down a bit,
but that's not so bad, is it?
Oh my goodness, right? Yeah. Just take time to smell the roses along the vacation. Yeah.
So in kind of your research and pulling things together, one of the first recommendations before going on some type of a trip or travel with an elderly person is to get that doctor clearance.
Yeah. Yep. Depending on what they've got going on, what are your challenges going to be? Is it a mental situation? Is it confusion on board? Is it mobility? Are they in a wheelchair? So you're going to have to think about access to every place.
Right.
You know, what are those things? And then there are times that you need to consider, can they fly or should you shorten your destination because their blood pressure or whatever won't be able to handle the altitudes. We did have a situation like that where a family came and then dad got here and ended up in the hospital because of the altitude in the airplane. And
then they had to drive home.
Oh my goodness.
Make special accommodations, rent a van, have a couple caregivers go with them.
Yeah.
To drive them back to California, I think.
Yep. But they were just bound to do this one last trip to the cabin in Montana.
Yeah.
That was their big thing because they figured it might be his last time. So let's make it memorable. And it turned out to be a little more work, but still the memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think about my mom and grandma are working on a trip that's coming up in, a couple months, and grandma unfortunately did end up getting COVID. Thankfully, she's tough as nails and came through it.
Yep.
But yes, in their travel plan for this next excursion, they're having to really think through, how long can we be in the vehicle? When do we need to make our stops? Do we need to have oxygen on board? What accommodations need to be made for that? So all sorts of things to take into consideration, but as long as you're willing to be flexible, I think where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay, that's awesome. I bet they're so excited. Yeah,
very much so.
Oh, very cool. Scale back, and you may not get to go all the way to Italy this time.
Right?
Where can you go that everybody can join? Staycation sometime, even they're cool.
I would love one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Because then if I stay home, there's always so much to do.
True.
Yeah. All right. So basically, you need to, when you do take off, you need to have your essentials on hand.
Yeah. Yep. Don't forget your medical information. Take with you a list of your medications. Take your medications. We just had a situation this week where one of our clients was going to be gone for a couple of weeks. So they hired us to stay home with dad. Well, she got halfway to the airport and realized she forgot her medication bag. So she quickly called our caregiver and said, oh my gosh, can you load him up and meet me halfway? But thankfully she remembered her medications before she got on the airplane.
Yes. And something I think we talked about at one point is when you do travel, and if you are going by airplane or make sure you keep those on your person.
Yeah.
Don't put them in your checked baggage or luggage or whatever.
Right.
Because you don't want to get separated from that. And unfortunately, we know that sometimes that will happen.
Right. Another thing to think about, and this is, like up here where we live, we see a lot of snowbirds. People come up here for the summer, then they go back to Arizona or wherever for the winter. And take with you your latest medical records if you're going to be gone for an extended amount of time, just because you may have a situation arise. And so it's better to have that info. And if you just had a procedure done, just make sure that you've got the information that you can share with your new physician.
Absolutely. Well, and I was thinking about even for those mobility things, maybe you're traveling with someone that uses a walker sometimes, uses a wheelchair, maybe uses a cane. Make sure that you are able to have all those tools available to you if need be, and or go with the safest route, right?
Yeah. Yes.
If you can't take everything, take the one that is going to provide the most safety for you.
Right. So we're going to go through some senior travel tips and how to have a great adventure no matter how old you are, right?
Yeah.
So with air travel, they talked about ask for senior discounts.
Always.
Something that
I even ask for them. I
Yeah.
ask for the junior discounts.
Yeah.
No, I just pray that I get carded. And every time I buy cold medicine, I do get carded. So
Yeah.
I don't know what they think I'm up to, but
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's so frustrating. But
yeah, definitely ask for those discounts because you've earned it.
Yep. Check in online if you can, just because that will cut down time in the line.
Print your boarding passes. I know that now technology has provided us with a lot of ways to be able to just, even from our smartphones, be able to scan in our boarding passes, but not everybody's going to have that available. So just print it and make sure you have it with you.
Right.
Get to the airport early.
Right.
I would rather be there early and not have to stress or worry or, put extra pressure on yourself or whoever you're traveling with.
Well, especially if you're traveling with somebody that's in a wheelchair or has any kind of those mobility devices. My guess is it's going to take a little extra to get through because they're going to really want to check your stuff.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not up to no good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do know that they have separate lines that are ADA compliant. Yeah.
Yes. And then also, ask about any type of expedited boarding, things like that. I think when they initially ask you, the first pass of people, part of that is somebody that it might take a little bit longer to get onto the plane. So just ask, speak up and advocate for yourself. And, there's no harm in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really funny. Actually, I found that one time I went to on a trip with my husband, and he had a big old walking boot, and he was not going to use one of those scooter thingies where you lean on it and just scoot along. He had to be hard and use the crutches and everything. But he got some #1 benefits because of that.
Right.
Because they would say, oh, you need to come to the front of the line, and here, let's get you that taxi. And I was just like, well, I'm with him. So we were able to get to the front of the line a lot of times, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't, he's just got a stub toe. It was worse than that. But that was just an example of that people were very kind to us because they thought that he had, a big, which he did. I think it was when he broke his tib fib. And we were going on vacation, dang it.
Heck yeah.
And so, but just to know that people are aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think generally people are good. And when they see that there's someone that needs a little special accommodation or something, they're going to do their best to help them out.
Yeah.
One of them that they talk about, which I love, is to have convenient and durable travel gear. And also basically dress in a convenient way.
Oh, yeah. Wear your potluck pants.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want to have something tight on your tummy or
Yeah.
that's hard to get up and down when you have to go to the bathroom. All of those things matter.
Even getting through security.
Yeah.
I mean,
Slip-on shoes.
Absolutely. Slip on shoes if you can. And, try not to wear belts if you can avoid it. Because
Right.
all of those things have to come off and go through the security line. So just make it easy on yourself.
Yeah, and that's for all of us that are not just our seniors, it's all of us. Just make it and don't take snacks.
I learned that the hard way. I did not know that that's a big issue.
Yeah.
Trying to get through security
Yeah,
with
I think
snacks.
they held you up for quite a while because of the Cheetos or something.
Something like that. Probably to the point that I was like, you know what? Why don't you just keep them? I just need to move on. One time I got, I did not check my backpack thoroughly before traveling. And basically my backpack got stopped. It shows this like long looking pointy aggressive something on the x-ray. I'm panicking because I'm like, what in the world is in that backpack? So when it was a Slim Jim, I was like, this is embarrassing on so many levels.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes. Be careful. I actually, now that you bring that up, I think about when we did some traveling and Tyler came with us and he had gotten a wall hanging thing that he was bringing. And it was actually like a hooky thing, but it had the silhouette of a gun. And it was wrapped in tissue so it didn't break and all of that. And it was in his bag. And I was like, I can't believe they let that go through. It was just really funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh my
the
gosh.
things that you think about. And then I've oftentimes gotten hung up with my hands where they have to swab them. and I'm like, what am I doing that, like I wear Bath and Body Works lotion, and I use Lysol wipes on my hands. What is creating this situation where they think that I need to be swabbed for bomb material? I don't know.
Probably.
Thankfully, I've never been, I've always made it through.
Well, you probably had Farby dues from the barn.
That's what I think about. Oh, right. I did chores this morning. So clearly I didn't wash my hands good enough, which is another issue.
Yeah, newborn baby lamb. So you've got some iodine on you. something. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Choose your travel times and routes carefully.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Yeah. Boy, you can spend a lot of time in getting to your destination if there's a lot of layovers.
Absolutely. And also take into consideration when you are scheduling those, if there's going to be any time differences when you go.
Right.
I mean, like we were talking with one of our consultants from Maryland? No. Philadelphia.
Yep.
Jeez. Anyway, and he was talking about he had been on the West Coast at a conference, and coming from the East Coast to the West Coast, that time change really, I mean, it can have a big effect.
Oh yeah. Huh. No wonder he was tired.
Right?
Yeah, I wasn't very empathetic to him.
I know. You are a picture of empathy, Julie.
Yes, I have my moments.
Make any special requests by phone. Follow up with those things. Don't be afraid to be a pest. It's okay.
Right.
Advocate for yourself and your trip for
Yeah.
sure. Pack
Yep.
appropriately.
That's not easy.
No. And, something that I have recently come to terms with, when I used to travel, I was, always wanted to be the hero and just do the carry-on luggage. I don't know why I keep calling it baggage, but anyway, carry on. And I now have reached a point in my life that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pay the $20 or $25 extra to just check this bag and not have to worry about it, not have to fight with it. So if that's something that you're able to do and you're flying, I just recommend it because it's just less to worry about and struggle with, especially if you're like physically assisting another person.
Yeah.
Make that your priority and let the luggage.
One less thing to carry.
Yeah.
However, do take a clean pair of underwear with you because
Yes.
if your luggage gets lost.
Yes. True story. Toothbrush, meds, clean pair of shorts.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Arrange transportation to and from the airport.
Yep.
And once again, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Help get your parent to the gate or whoever it is that you're traveling with. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Stick together.
Yeah. Yep. So then coordinate your arrival there. And once again, that's just all in that good planning. It's pretty logical, but sometimes we get so excited we forget something.
Yeah.
And then don't forget about yourself. You get so worried about packing for your parent or that, making sure everybody's got their stuff. Don't forget your stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you can look at different options. If you want to do organized things, tours, those types of things, or, cruises might be an option if it works out for everybody and it just kind of, you have a lot of options on the boat, but it's still pretty contained and, just something to think about. And then they talk about like getting travel insurance.
Yeah.
Just in case something comes up, life happens. We know that. I would say if we're making a recommendation to do that, definitely read through and know what you're buying.
Yes.
So that you don't just say, oh, they told us on the podcast to buy travel insurance and then we didn't get our money back. But know what you're buying, but just be prepared.
Yeah. Yep. If there's a big group of you and you've got your elderly parents with you or grandma, whoever it is, plan to take it easy. I know that there's many mentalities when it comes to any kind of vacation. My family's like, oh my gosh, we're not home. We can't miss a minute.
Yes.
And we've traveled together a lot.
Yes.
And
we're different.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes. Especially even our girls. So
Yeah.
like Callie is just like wide awake, balls to the
let's
walls
go,
the
let's
whole
go.
time. Let's go. And my Bailey has learned, like, when we travel, especially because so much of what we do is driving to
Right.
shows. So
Right.
she's like the professional napper. She knows how to wind that down.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's very different. So you have to kind of come up with the balance of what works for everybody.
What's going to work for everybody. And and still everybody can have a blast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It is important to maintain a routine. So, I mean, traveling, obviously you're off of your routine, but keep as much of it as normal as possible as you can.
Right. Right. Set aside time for yourself. Actually, with our home care agency, we've got here in our lovely part of the world, we have the lake, we have the park, we have the mountain. We've been hired before to come and just see these people for maybe a couple of shifts while the kids all go skiing. Who's going to stay with grandpa? And so we would be hired to go, and were we at a hotel? You know, or were they at an Airbnb? You know, those are different. If you need to find somebody, there will be somebody locally that you can hire.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I think we talked about it before, but we've had situations where families have wanted to go, you know, take a loved one on a vacation. They know they can't handle it on their own, so they'll have a caregiver go with them. Yeah. So that's also something that if as you're planning that out and there are things that you want to be able to do for yourself, but you can't leave your loved one alone. There are resources.
Yeah. Oh, that's we'll tell them about Colleen's experience.
Yes.
So one of our clients, Colleen used to go to them several times a week, and they decided that they needed to get a few more things marked off their bucket list. And so the wife had called and said, "Oh, we'd like to be able to go on this country cruise, and we'd like to take our caregiver with us. And is that okay?" And I was like, "No." She goes, "Why not?" And I said, "Because you're taking me."
Right.
But we made arrangements. It was amazing for that caregiver. She got to go on this. It was down to the Bahamas. Yeah. And it was with a whole bunch of the older country music people. It was just really neat. But she was there with the family. They had, prior to leaving, we all understood what her expectations were. They were going to help pay for the flight and the trip and all of that. But the expectations was she would be there first thing in the morning to make sure he got up, got his breakfast, got going, that routine thing that you were talking about. And they all just had a lovely time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the trip of a lifetime for Colleen.
Oh, yeah.
Something that you can consider is to go in an off-peak season. So probably cost won't be as high. And then also the other people or traffic or, you know, just congestion, I guess. Yeah. If you're wanting to go to, you know, certain sites or see things that lots of people go to, just go in an off-peak time, and then, you know, you minimize some of that distraction.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Then one thing also is, you know, pick a base camp, right? So maybe you're going to visit family, or maybe you're going to a destination, you know, get your hotel room, and if you're going to be there for a week, that's where you stay the whole time. So you're not packing up and moving and shifting and changing that routine up every time. Just try to be as stable as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to do one of those wild, fast ones, do that trip a different time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if you are doing like sightseeing things, you can go, sometimes if you go earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon, you might miss some of the most congested times.
Right. Yep.
Guided tours are good, and yeah.
So what you want to do is once you know which companies you're going to go through for flights, then really research them, because each of them have different ways to contact them, get a hold of them, different discounts, all of those. You know, really, truly, there's a lot of help out there for all of your needs.
And I think different disease processes are going to require different things. So like if you're traveling with someone who has dementia, that's going to be different than traveling with someone like your husband who had the boot on his foot. And so think about all of those things. And we had a client who his wife had Parkinson's. And when he would travel with her, talk about what he would do.
Oh, he was amazing. He was not letting her disease slow them down until at the very end, when it just simply couldn't happen anymore. But I think most of his trips were back east where the kids were. So they had a place to go, but getting there was going to start becoming challenging as her disease, was declining. And he actually made a sign that said female in bathroom.
Right.
And when they got off the plane and they were waiting to get on the other plane, he would take that sign and tape it up so that people would know that he had her in there, because she could not do it herself.
Sure.
So he had all of the tricks and tips on how to survive. And he said the biggest thing is just tell everybody.
That they say that communication
Yep.
piece is huge.
Yep.
Just make people aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
We've talked about those cards that you can hand out if you're in a restaurant or a situation where someone might need to know that whoever's with you has dementia. You know, you could even do like a, you know, the my name is or a sticky tag or some sort of identifier so that people are aware of what's going on and can help look out for you. Because like I said, in general, most people are good.
Yes.
They want to help. And if they're aware of what's going on, they're going to be a little higher alert to the situation and help.
Well, what airport were you and I at where that gentleman was trying to get on the escalator the opposite direction?
I think it was in Seattle.
Seattle, yep. And you were in tune enough to notice that this guy was in distress.
Yeah.
And he had simply gotten separated from his wife.
Yeah.
And he was carrying or pulling this big old suitcase and trying to go up the escalator the wrong way. And he was just, you could tell that he was getting more and more agitated.
Yeah. Oh, and the fatigue too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And everybody was just kind of walking past, not understanding that he had there was something wrong with him.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, I think you found he had a cell phone.
Yep, he did have a phone, and I have no idea how. I don't remember if he was able to call his person or what, but yeah. So basically, for you and I to see something like that happening, given our background, we're going to know that okay, there's something's not right. But for most people, they may not really understand or even have a clue of how to help. Especially, I mean, somebody might see that and say, okay, well, we can help him get pointed in the right direction. But then to take it the next step, they might not understand that. I mean, clearly this man had some type of a dementia or an Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm glad that the wife had thought about him having a phone.
Yeah.
But with his state of agitation, not necessarily would he have been able to use that if it had gone much longer.
Oh, I don't think so at
Yeah.
all. And he was just so flustered and fixated on trying to get up the stairs.
Yeah, and then she was desperately looking for him. I mean, it really, really could have been worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So that was quite an interesting scenario to walk into.
Yeah.
So
I think one last thing kind of on that Alzheimer's dementia piece is watch the clock and pay attention to the time, especially if there's any type of a sundowning situation with your family member, because you just want to try to avoid any of those triggers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Anything that happens at home is going to go with him. So try to keep that routine.
Yeah.
Even though you are in a different place, but just keep it as routine as you can and enjoy. Don't forget the reason you took the trip.
Yes. So the takeaway is take the trip.
Yeah. Take the trip. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just have
it will
fun.
be okay.
Yeah.
People are good. They want to help you. Plan ahead. You'll be fine.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, and take a picture.
I'll take lots of pictures.
So you can remember it.
Yes, that's right.
Oh my gosh. So, you and I I had this thought come into my head the other day and I was like, where have I heard this? Why have I heard this? And what does it even mean?
And I was like, well, I don't know, but I will find out.
So the saying that came into my head, oh, my stars and garters. That's the grandma saying.
Yes, you literally walked into my office going, what does that even mean?
Because like when I use something like that, I want to know that I'm using it in the right context. And I think I was, now that you so generously printed this out for me and did the research for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But yes, I was just like, and I don't know what triggered it in my mind, but oh, my stars and garters.
Yes. So what does it mean?
It's a jocular exclamation or expression of astonishment.
Oh, so instead of holy bleep, you say, oh, my stars and garters.
Who the heck came up with that?
I don't know.
And how did it catch on?
Does it talk about the origin?
Yeah. So, oh, my stars and garters is now very much an American expression. I haven't ever come across in the wild here in the UK. That's a little odd, as we shall see. The phrase's origins are very much English. Stars has been a favorite in British exclamations for many centuries. For example, bless my stars, thank my lucky stars, both 17th century coinages. The usage of the word dates back at least to the 16th century when it was used by Christopher Marlowe in the play the troublesome reign and lamentable death of Edward II. Oh, my stars, why do you lower, which is scowl or look angry, unkindly on a king? The stars in question are the astrological bodies, and one's stars were one's position in life or disposition. Moving on to the garters, and the connection is with astrology or even hosiery. It is not with astrology or even hosiery, but with chivalry.
Oh my.
Stars and garters was used as a generic name for the trappings of high office and by extension the people who occupied such.
Oh my stars and garters.
Oh my stars and garters. And I apologize for the very choppy reading of the origin of Oh my stars and garters. If you made it through, thank you.
You learned something new today.
Yes, it was rough. It was rough getting there, but oh gosh. Well, that's awesome. I'm excited. I always love talking about topics that I think are useful to people and maybe things that they have thought about or maybe haven't thought about, but can go out and put into practice.
Yeah. Yeah. And has the thought of taking somebody on a trip been so worrisome to you that you just haven't really gone there? But you know what? We're giving you permission.
Go do it. It'll be okay.
Do it. Take us with you.
Oh, absolutely. We would happily go along. As long as it's warm and dry.
Warm and dry. No snowmobiles.
Oh, goodness. Well, thank you guys for listening. And if you would like to share a grandma saying with us, you can email those to the caregivenpodcast@gmail.com. If you have a verse you'd like to share, any uplifting stories, we want to hear from you. Please go subscribe. You can do that on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And you can leave reviews for us. We would love that. Share us with a friend. Join our Apaga Care and Share Facebook group. And yeah, we'll be back next week to talk to you about something else important.
Yes, we will.
All right. Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Have a good day.